Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a special guest, my husband Steven, and today we wanted to talk about how we met in the military. It's actually a pretty interesting story, and we shared a lot with people when we first meet them. It's always fun to hear how people met their spouses and how they dated and all the funny things that happen, because I think most people have pretty funny stories when it comes to engagements or sweet stories, depending on the situation. So do you want to start?
You can start.
Okay. So we met in February of 2014. The year before that, in 2013, I had just finished up my bachelor's degree. I had worked really hard to finish it because I think I was 26 at the time and I was just ready to have it done. So I'd gone to school full time, really hardcore while being in the Air Force and doing volunteer work and trying to be social. It was just a really exhausting year. And so when 2014 came, I was just ready to take life easy. I was also ready to go overseas and to do something different than be in Louisiana. And around that time, the Air Force had sent out an email saying they had a volunteer position available in Korea, and I really wanted to go back to South Korea because I've always wanted to travel and I was just ready to do some time overseas. Well, I think I had sent the email saying that I would accept that position if they would let me. And then I think on that Sunday, my boss had invited me to his church. I was in between churches at the time, just trying to find a place that I really liked, where I just felt it felt right. I went to church on that Sunday and I sat through the service. It was really interesting. I think it was a Calvary Chapel and I had never been to that kind of church before. But when they do communion, they don't hand it out. Everyone goes to the front, gets their communion and goes and sits down. So I saw him going up to get his communion and I didn't think much of him. I just thought, oh look, there's a guy. After the service ended, I was just standing there waiting for someone to talk to me because I was in a new church and I thought maybe they would come say hi, but everyone kind of dispersed into their own groups and I was just standing there. Well, Steven came to talk to me and I think I remember him being the guy that I just thought, oh look, there's a guy. But I didn't remember what he said to me. I think he was just talking to me, but I just thought, wow, he is so nice. And that was a really big deal because I think the year before and really before that, I had been on dates with a few guys that just were not gentlemanly, to say it nicely. And so just how nice he was such a refreshing thing for me.
And disarming.
Yeah, I thought it was funny because I had like so many guards up during dating. And it's funny because I feel like Steven just kind of walked right through and passed all my defenses without meaning to. With most men where I'd be ready to like detonate a landmine, he just kind of like walked on through where I wasn't quite ready.
My side of the story, our friend who ended, mutual friend, her boss, ended up being our best man.
He wasn't my friend because we worked together. He wasn't my friend. You were not.
He ended up being friends.
But you're not friends with your boss in the military. Anyway, go ahead.
Not supposed to, but anyway, he had brought her up there. He invited her to church, and I was doing sound ministry, so I was up on there. I was up at the top of the church, messing with the soundboard and all the media. And after the service was over, I looked down and I saw her standing by herself. I was like, "Hey, look, she's really pretty." I remember she was wearing a red dress. I thought she looked really attractive. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go talk to her," because I hadn't dated anybody in a long time. Probably, I don't know, 5-6 years. I was 24 at the time.
You were 23.
Close enough. 23. So I went in time to talk to her, and we struck it up. And I found out she was military, which is nice for me because being in the military makes you get some rough edges. You kind of don't know how to exactly say it, but if you've been in the military, you understand what I mean. You just kind of are not normal. So when you talk to normal people, you kind of just come off different. So anyway, there's a really nice Mexican restaurant that we were all going, and I invited her to go with us because I didn't want her to be by herself. And I wanted to talk to her more. So we ended up driving we ended up going to the restaurant. And the funny story is when we got there, we had all said it was like a big square table. I think there's like 10, 12 people at the table. And there was a spot next to me, so I had saved for her. And I had ordered some horchata because I really like to drink. And as she got there, she sat down and they put it in front of her. And she's like, "Oh, did you get this for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did," because I was like, I didn't know what else to say.
You ordered it for me.
So I was like, I'll take some good points in my name. And but we had a good conversation after that.
After that, I think Monday came, and that week, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I think I went to church. Some time went by, at least a week, and I had been going to church, and then I had asked my boss about him, and I don't remember what he said, but he's like, I don't remember what he said, but I was just like panicked about it because of all my bad experiences with dating.
He pretty much told us to talk to each other, is what he said.
Yeah, because he had been asking about me, and then I had been asking about him, and I think he got tired of being like the in-between guy. So finally he told you, I think he told you, he's like, she likes you, ask her out. And so probably I would say maybe a week and a half to 2 weeks after we first met, he came, because you were working night shift.
Yeah, I came in at 7 after working a full 8-hour shift to come talk to you.
Yeah, so he came in at my work day started at 7:30, and then he came in and we were talking, and he asked me to go out on a date, and
that night.
No, it was like on a Wednesday or Thursday.
It was a Friday, because I remember, because I had to.
Are you sure?
I'm positive it was a Friday, because I got off work and I knew I was off for the rest of the weekend. So that's why I asked you out, and then I went home and slept so I could pick you up in the afternoon to go watch the movie.
Oh, okay. So I don't remember that. Okay, so what were we talking about?
Your date night. It was on Friday?
Was it? Okay, so I guess it was on Friday that we went on a date. Oh, we went to go see Frozen. I think it was the second time I went to go see it. Did I tell you that it was the second time I saw it?
No.
Yeah, it was the second time, and we went to go see it, and I really liked Frozen when it came out. It was a good movie. I really liked that song. I think I played it 500 times a day at work.
Did you get sick of it?
Yeah, I know. Oh, and then we went out to eat at IHOP afterward, but I really enjoyed the company. I just remember I was so exhausted. I thought, just take me home. I'm so tired.
The rest of that was kind of your side, but you had to go somewhere, remember?
Oh yeah, Stephen was just along for the ride. I think he was just happy to have someone to date. But I actually ended up getting approval to go to Korea.
Talk about Oklahoma, and then all that, like...
It all leads into that.
Okay.
Anyway, so I got orders to go to Korea.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And they said I would be leaving in November. So I think it was February at that point.
It was.
But my first thought was, man, I really don't want to be dating somebody and not stay in the States.
But also don't forget that I was supposed to deploy it too.
It's closer. No, we didn't find that out until later. I like this. Sorry for the change.
That's a leave them in there, you know that, right? Or it's gonna be like super close.
Anyway, okay, so make sure the battery wasn't doing anything. So I had my orders, and my first thought was, man, I really don't want to be dating someone long distance if I'm overseas, because I wanted to stay overseas. Usually if you go overseas, particularly Korea, because I think it's a hard one to get people to volunteer to go to, but a lot of people will volunteer to go to Korea in order to get orders after or to get an assignment of their choosing. And I think I had things like Turkey and Japan and a couple of European bases that I really wanted to go to. And so I thought, man, I really don't want to be in a long distance relationship while I'm overseas. And so I had planned to go to Oklahoma one weekend in March to get I think I had to get my driver's license renewed because it had expired. And I was a resident of Oklahoma, so in order to get my driver's license, I had to go up there, basically. And on my way to Oklahoma, he had called me and said...
No, before Oklahoma. You talked to me in the parking lot.
Yeah, I was on my way to Oklahoma.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so I was on my way to Oklahoma, And I think I was maybe 5 minutes from my apartment, and he was like, hey, I really want to see you before you go. And I thought, I really don't want to talk to you right now. So I turned around and I went back, and I was gonna say, I've had a lot of fun, but I really just don't think we should see each other like this anymore. But I think what came out was, you what did I say? Something like, you need to get
your life together.
You need to get your life together. I don't know, it was stupid. Anyway, so I think I really upset him, because you were on your way to work too. I think.
Yeah, because I was still working nights.
Yeah, you were working nights, and I think it was right after work that I was leaving, and I left, and he called me. He was really upset about it and all that. It was weird.
Why was it weird that I was upset?
Not that you were upset, that I was just acting the way I was acting.
Oh.
So I think were you watching my animals that weekend, or?
I think I watched your cat.
You watched Santana.
Because you didn't want to put her up for boarding. I was there for that. You were there for like 2 days, I think.
No, I took him with me. I took him with me because it was such a short trip. They stayed at my friend's house.
It wasn't until your next trip.
Yeah. So then, so that was a busy month. Yeah, so that was towards the middle of March, because I think it was over my birthday. And then
It was within March.
Yeah, it was over. I think my birthday was there, and it was a Saturday. And I think it was it graduation too? I think it was my graduation. Yep,
Because you went up there for your driver's license and graduation.
Wow. Anyway, so I went up there for both of those. I didn't get to graduate in December. The December that I finished my classes, I didn't get to graduate because there was a huge snowstorm in Oklahoma, so I just didn't go. And so anyway, the following week that I think I got back on a Sunday, and then that Monday I had to go. The Air Force sent me to Virginia to do some kind of like retreat or whatever, and I was gone the whole week for that. And I think that was when you
said you didn't trust anybody, so you asked me to go watch Santana.
Yeah, he watched my cat for me, and I put my dog in the kennel. But then the week I got back, they had asked me to go to Montana.
Wait, you missed a spot. The week you were gone, you were trying to figure out a way to break up with me. Oh, yeah. And then I showed up to the airport with a huge bouquet of flowers.
I got it, okay. So that whole week, all I could think about was, man, I really don't want to do a long distance relationship. It was just eating me, and I didn't feel right staying, like pretending to like him or pretending to want to be in a relationship. And so I thought, okay, as soon as I get back, I'm gonna break up with him. And on the whole flight back from Virginia, I was like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I was thinking of different ways to say it. I was like, I'm gonna tell him on the car ride back that we cannot see each other anymore. And so, sorry, it was hurting my side. And so anyway, I got off the plane, and I was going to baggage terminal, and there was a part where you can like walk by security, like to leave. Like,
it's a straight shot to like.
Yeah, so you're like walking into like going through security to get to the plane, and then I was leaving. And right as I was leaving, he shows up with this huge bouquet of flowers, and I thought, oh my God, I can't break up with him now. Who breaks up with somebody whenever they
picking them up and making flowers?
Yeah, like who does that? So, well, I think it was just the flowers part. It wasn't the picking up, but anyway. So, what happened?
Then you had the next day.
Oh yeah, so I thought I'll break up with him on Monday, and so Monday came, and my boss and the wing chaplain came to me and basically said, hey, would you be willing to go to Montana for an indeterminate amount of time? They were having some troubles up there with the base, and a lot of commanders had gotten fired. It was a big thing. It had made national news, and I said sure. But then I thought, well, who's gonna watch my animals? Because I didn't want to put my animals in boarding
for an indeterminate amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how long they would have been there. So I thought, well, I'll ask Steven to do it, and then I'll break up with him when I get back. It was bad, I know, trust me. You don't have to tell me what a horrible person I was. But anyway, so I asked Steven if he would watch them, and he said yes. And I think this was really a godsend, because what am I trying to say?
What forced you to talk?
Well, I think it was really a godsend because, you know, I was very scared, and looking back, I was trying to be in charge of my own life, but I think God in his grace had circumstances be otherwise. That way he could get me to where I needed to be. But at the time I was just scared. I didn't want to be in a long distance relationship. And so what happened? So I went to we went to Montana and we started reading a book together. What was it called? Intellectual Foreplay. And it asked, there's so many different topics.
There's like as shallow or as deep as you want. It goes from like, what do you do for your relatives with your holidays? Which way does toilet paper roll go? Like, so it's...
Yeah, so there were all different kinds of questions. It has like all kinds of questions, and we talked through it, and we learned a lot about each other. And I think over time I began thinking, well, maybe it's not about finding the right person, but finding the person that you don't want to get away from or that you don't want to let go. I think the way I had been dating, I was looking for like the perfect person that didn't have any flaws and wasn't going to hurt me and wasn't going to do all this stuff. Like he had the perfect degree and the perfect job and all this stuff and did everything right and had the best friends and just probably this impossible list of standards. Then I thought, wow, maybe isn't someone that I want to let go of. And so the summer, and then I came back. I think I only stayed like a month. Oh, but you ended up watching the animals. And I think that was also how I knew that you were probably the right one, because the dog was just awful.
That one time was terrible.
There was one time where he worked a 12-hour night shift, and she hated being in a kennel.
She was a Chihuahua.
She was a Chihuahua Dachshund Terrier mix, and she hated being in a kennel, which I had gotten her a really big kennel, so she wasn't in a tiny little one all day. But she basically like somehow moved the tray underneath and tried digging out, and she dug through the carpet. And then I guess one day she pooped.
It was the same day she dug through the carpet and threw poop everywhere.
Oh my God.
So I spent like 2 hours after working a 12-hour shift cleaning everything up.
Yeah, so that's how I was like, okay, well maybe he's not a bad guy. Maybe he's someone I want to keep around. But at the time I had this, and probably still do, at the time I had this mentality of, I signed up for Korea. I'm not going to turn it down. I'm going to go and do it. And then, so over the summer, we still hung out and dated, and we talked about getting married. And I think he went ahead and bought a ring anyway. And I was just dreading it because I thought, oh, it's just one more thing that's going to like tie me down or.
Well, you have to remember that was the time I found I was deploying as well.
Yeah. So there was a lot of pressure. I think it was either like go or get off the pot kind of thing.
I finally convinced her to let me ask her dad for permission, and then the next day I proposed.
Yeah, it's still weird to think about. I think it was hard having all that pressure, but it's probably a good thing, because if we waited too long, I probably would have talked myself out of it.
I asked her on July 31st is when I asked her to ask her dad. I asked her dad on the 1st, proposed on the 2nd, and we were sitting over there through the weekend. We're like, you know what, let's just get married. So we're like, hey, everybody, we're getting married. They're like, didn't you just get engaged? They're like, yeah, but we're getting married now.
Yeah, I know. It was fast. But I think it's what I've always wanted. I've never wanted, like, I think in my head, I thought, okay, we're gonna date a year, and then we're gonna get engaged, and then we're gonna wait a year or two and get married. But I think deep down, I never really wanted a normal wedding, like what people normally do. I didn't want that. I wanted a quick, kind of different thing, and it really was. Like, it was very different. Because I think we met around February 9th-ish, like the first week in February, and we got married the first week of August. So that's really less than 6 months we dated and got married. So. And
then we got to spend a good month together, but we were both stressed out. I had to pack up, and then I left. Was it September?
It was really stressful. Well, it was stressful because I actually looked back on my Facebook feed from that time, and I think you were packing up to deploy. I was packing up our apartment to move out. We got married. We did a justice of the peace, and then our family was like, well, we want to be there. So it took us 18 days. In 18 days, we planned a full wedding on top of me finishing master's classes, preparing to move to a foreign country, out processing a base. I mean, it was just nuts, the stress that we were under. And I just think, I don't ever want to do that again. And I think that's what led to me getting out of the military.
It's just the month prior before leaving was awesome. It was everything else afterwards that was hard.
Yeah, we did our wedding. We did our honey. It was such a mishmash. It was almost like August was our.
Oh, remember I got permission, special permission to go out of town. It's for our honeymoon. Because normally we weren't supposed to leave when you're ready to deploy. You just have to be ready. You can't leave or anything. But I was able to convince my leadership to let me go, and we drove all the way down to Galveston for like a 3-day weekend. And I left like 2 days after we got back, I think.
No, it was a week. You left September.
But it was super quick after we got back. So
yeah, it was like 3 or 4 days.
It was a blessing to get to leave. Nobody else got to leave, but I got to take some time to go.
That was a hard day. That was like the hardest day of my life.
Oh yeah, dropping me off.
Yeah, it wasn't the first day that I had, because I was dating someone like when I deployed once, and he had dropped me off, and then he dropped me off, and that was hard, but it wasn't nearly as hard as, you know, being married and dropping you off to deploy. Galveston was fun.
That seaweed was awful that year though.
Oh yeah, we stayed in a bed and breakfast, which was fun.
Which I highly recommend. Those are like the best places to stay as a couple.
We stayed in a bed and breakfast, and then we traveled a lot. We went to South Louisiana, we went to Texas. This is before we got married. We went to South Louisiana, we went to Texas, and then we went to Galveston, which was fun. They had a Schlitterbahn there, which is a huge water park. We went to, there was an aquarium, and sorry, we've been up since 4 o'clock with the baby, 4:30. Anyway, we went to, there's a beautiful aquarium there, and then, is it some kind of aviary? I think there's some kind of bird.
It was all in the same place. It was the Moore's zoo.
Yeah, there was something big and beautiful there. And then we went on a night cruise. That was fun.
Didn't we do it in Guam though?
No, we did a canoe cruise in Guam.
No, we did that big party boat thing in Guam.
Oh, we did, yeah, the sunset cruise. We did too. Well, no, we were gonna do a sunset cruise in Galveston, but the guy called and said, hey, I think that it's gonna rain tonight. Would you prefer to just do it tomorrow night?
Oh, you're really good.
No, we did it that night.
Oh, you're right. I remember now because we did it in the bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so that was when we dated, and we're gonna end this video here. This will be part 1, and then part 2 will be our year separated. What it is like to be geographically separated from your spouse when you're in the military. Now, this may not be every couple's experience, but this is our experience.
We did get a little bit of time together, but we'll talk about that in the next video.
Mm-hmm.